All right, men, welcome to today's episode of Strong Men, Strong Marriages, to spy or not to spy on your wife. So, if you are suspicious that maybe your wife is involved with another guy, or maybe she has been unfaithful in the past, the desire to spy on her is going to be really high. And so today we're going to talk about what to do about that, kind of pros and cons of spying, and what to do. So we deal with this a lot. Unfortunately, it does happen, and pretty often that um, a wife can be unfaithful. So we help guys through it, and guys get to a great spot. But this is one of the things we definitely talk about in that situation. So my name is Mike Frazier, MD, and I'm a psychiatrist and marriage coach. I help high achieving Christian men have more intimate marriages. So some wins from guys in my program: Strong Men, Strong Marriages. Guys, they're just feeling stronger. They're feeling more confident. They're feeling more connected with God. Just feeling solid and strong. And that's that strong men part of Strong Men, Strong Marriage. It's just fun to see guys stepping into that and feeling that. Guys are having more sex, better sex, increased sexual intimacy with their wives. One of the gentlemen shared he had a really special moment taking family pictures and just seeing, the growth that he and his wife had been able to experience by applying the principles of the program. Super cool story, and kind of picture that he was able to paint, just kind of looking over the mountains during those family pictures. Wives are appreciating, they're proud of their husband's progress in the program. And for me, this week, it's been, just really focusing on the present moment a little more, being really grateful for my wife, for my kids, for the place that we get to live, and those things. So it's been good to reflect on those things for me. So right now, if you're kind of thinking about spying on your wife, or maybe you already are, so you're maybe suspicious. You're suspicious that your wife might be in touch or involved with another guy. Maybe this has happened in the past. Maybe she was already unfaithful, and so you're on alert. And look, it's understandably so. And we'll talk a little bit about this later on, but especially if your wife has been unfaithful, she needs to earn trust back. And the way trust gets earned back is by her making and keeping promises over time. So, definitely if she's been unfaithful, I recommend, requesting, and this is what we'll talk about, but requesting that she shares like her phone login information with you and that sort of thing, just so you can verify the things she's saying. That's what helps bring trust back. But kind of coming to why you might be thinking about spying on her. Maybe she's been on her phone more, or she seems more secretive. Maybe she's disappearing, asking for space, turned off her phone location. Okay, so all that stuff might be happening. And so you're starting to feel tempted, right? You want to check her phone, you want to check her email, you want to somehow spy on what she's doing, you want to call her friends and verify whether she was actually with her friends or not. So, and maybe you actually have spied on her, and maybe you've found out some problematic information from your spying. But the problem is, and this is what I see often with guys in the program, is they spy, they find it out, but now what? Now what are they going to do with that information? Because you got it by being dishonest. You spied, you didn't tell her you were doing it. So now if you go tell her, you have to also expose that you spied on her, that you were being dishonest and looked at her phone without her permission. Okay. So guys don't want to do that because they don't want to expose that they were being dishonest, but they're also just kind of being eaten away by this information that they have. So they feel really stuck. But the other thing is, let's say that you're having all these suspicions and you look on her phone and everything's okay. So the problem there is that you're still going to be paranoid because you haven't learned to manage your thoughts and emotions around this. And you haven't been honest with her and requested to be able to see these things if you're trying to restore trust over time. Or maybe this is just all coming from your own past. Maybe your ex-wife or ex-girlfriend was unfaithful to you, and now you're just on alert and watching for her to be unfaithful, and really she's not, which is not fun for her, and it's not fun for you either. So it's, in any case, it's going to be you managing your own thoughts and feelings. Okay, the reason you're doing this is because you're worried, you're anxious, you want information to try to relieve that anxiety. And look, sometimes maybe you do need that information, but a lot of times it's you learning to manage that internally that's the bigger issue. Okay. So again, like if you spied on her, now you got this information, you can't expose it without also acknowledging, yeah, I was dishonest, I was sneaky. Okay. So what a lot of guys will do is they'll try to get their wife to give them the information by kind of tricking her, like manipulating her into it. So they'll come to her and be like, oh, hey, like, where were you last night? Or, well, hey, is there anything you'd like to tell me? Kind of like just trying to encourage her, trying to have her tell them uh, what he already knows, basically. Kind of testing, is she going to be honest with me or not? But again, then let's just say she was texting this other guy and you found out. So you come to her, you're like, hey, hey, who you been texting lately? She's like, oh yeah, just some friends. You're like, oh, like what friends? Oh, Michelle, Jane. You're like, oh, okay. But she's been texting another guy, but you won't ask her directly. And so now you're just in this little game, right? Where she doesn't want to share something, you don't want to share something, and you're just stuck. Okay. So and the problem here, guys, and this is kind of the take-home message of this, is you can only expect your wife to be as honest with you as you are going to be with her. So again, you can only expect your wife to be as honest with you as you are going to be with her. So in these situations, you're trying to get your wife to tell you the truth while you are hiding the truth. So it's not right? It's not an integrity. It's not going to work. So you're trying to invite honesty by lying. That's another way to put it bluntly. You're trying to invite honesty from her by lying to her. So don't be surprised that doesn't work, guys. Okay, it's never going to work. So what do you do instead? Okay, so option one is to just choose not to spy. Okay, so you can decide to let's take a couple examples. Example one, let's say she was unfaithful in the past. So you can decide, hey, look, you know what? I'm going to choose to forgive my wife, not punish her anymore. I'm going to choose to have faith that she can change, okay, and be faithful to me. And I'm going to give her the opportunity to rebuild trust, meaning, I'm going to verify the things she says so she can restore trust. Again, if she's been unfaithful, I strongly recommend having a clear conversation with her and having access to her phone and email and stuff, not forever necessarily, but for a while, so that you can verify when she says, oh no, I haven't contacted that guy, you can verify it. Okay? That's what helps restore trust more quickly. If she's unwilling to do that, that's a sign, right? That's a sign to you that, maybe she's not really up for rebuilding trust. And, you need to decide what you're going to do with that information. But again, having a direct conversation is going to be much better than trying to be sneaky about this. So again, option one, you might choose not to spy. Okay. The other thing you could choose here is you could say, okay, she's interested in this other guy. I know that. I know she's seen this guy or whatever. And I'm basically just going to say, okay, she can do that. And I'm just going to be the better choice. I'm going to show her that I'm a better choice than this other guy. Now, you might also put some other boundaries in place around that. You might say, hey, I know you're talking to this other guy. So I'm not going to support XYZ financially while you're doing that. But I want you to know I'm also not going to divorce you. I want you to be able to, make a decision about whether you want to be with me or not. Remember that. So again, maybe you do like a financial separation, maybe you do a physical separation while she's, dating this other guy. Okay. But that's a valid choice. Okay. You just want to get clear on what you're going to do and stay true to it and be honest about it. Okay. Option two, right? You might ask your wife directly to see her phone and express your concerns. Okay. So let her know what you're seeing and your thoughts and feelings about it, and then make a request with a reason why. So an example might be, okay, situation, last night you went out, you didn't say where you were going. I felt uncomfortable with that because it reminds me of what you did when you were unfaithful in the past. Okay. is there someone I can talk to, or I can verify where you said you were, so that I can continue to build trust back in you? Okay, that would be a fair way to address this with your wife. Okay, so again, option 1 and 2, you're being direct, you're being honest. Okay, option 3, maybe you do just decide to spy. Okay, but you need to know what you're going to do with that information. So look, let's say, you've asked her to share things with you. She said, "No, I'm not going to." Or she said, "Yeah, sure." But then something happened that you kind of are suspicious about that. Okay. So she's like, "Oh, yeah, I was out with friends." And then you're like, "Okay, well, I'm going to call a friend and verify that." "Oh, don't call him," but you call him anyway. Right. So that's how you're going to be more direct and more honest about this. Okay. So another option you have is to pick up that phone, right? When she's in the bathroom, whenever you pick it up, you look through it. Okay. But what you need to understand is, what are you going to do with that information? Okay. You might find out that she was being unfaithful when you do that. Okay. So are you going to confront her about it? Yes or no? Okay. You need to figure that out. Are you going to decide to leave? Yes or no? Or separate, or do a financial separation, or whatever. Okay. So if you're not going to confront her, or if you're not going to decide for some kind of separation, it's probably not worth doing. Okay. It's going to be much better to choose one of those other options of being upfront with her, of asking her directly, just saying, "Hey, like, I'm seeing you on your phone a lot. It's making me nervous. Can I check your phone?" Okay. That's going to be a lot better than these alternatives of just sneaking and spying. Because again, let's say she's in the bathroom, right, and you look at her phone and you don't find anything. Okay. So now what? Are you going to tell her, "Oh, hey, yeah, I looked through your phone. Sorry, I was worried about this and that"? I mean, that's better than just hiding it and then checking it the next time she's in the bathroom and the next time she's in the bathroom, right? That's more about you managing your thoughts and emotions around it and making some clear requests and setting some clear boundaries, saying, "Hey, you were unfaithful. I think it's important." Excuse me. "I think it's important for me to be able to access your phone and look through it." Okay. If your wife's reasonable and willing to work with you, this makes sense. Okay. She probably should be willing to do that if she was unfaithful in the past. Okay. If she has not been unfaithful in the past and you are just super paranoid about it, okay, that's a discussion to have with her. But also, it's just like, you need to figure that out, right? You need to work through that and manage your own thoughts and emotions and anxiety, because it's going to drive her crazy. Okay. So again, like, let's just, the only situation where I could think of spying as being a possibility, right, is if, okay, you've had the discussion. "Hey, you've been unfaithful. I want to be able to see your phone." "No, I'm not going to show it to you." Okay. And you're like, "Okay, well, are you being unfaithful?" "No, I'm not." Okay. So basically, she's not willing to try to restore trust with you. But she's telling you she's being faithful. Okay. But then you're picking up some signs that maybe it's not really like that. Right. So I think that's the only situation where you might, from a place of integrity, decide to spy on her. Right. Where you're going to say, "Okay, for me to really make a good decision around whether I want to be in this marriage or not, I need to know." And so, yeah, maybe then you do something like that. But again, even then, probably not the best, right? Probably be better to just say, "Hey, if you're not willing to share this with me, I'm going to make the assumption that there's something you're hiding." Okay. And that's not the kind of relationship I want, where we're trying to hide things from each other, especially given the history of you being unfaithful. Okay. That's a lot stronger approach than you coming in there and just spying on her phone. Okay. Now, it can happen too that you just kind of come across something, right? Maybe you weren't really trying to spy on her, but you just saw it come up. Okay. That happens too sometimes. And so in that case, same idea, right? You want to be as honest with her as you want her to be with you. So it probably makes more sense for you to just come straight to her and say, "Hey, I wasn't trying to find this, but I saw this come up. I saw you were talking with this other guy or whatever. Okay, can you explain this to me?" And then see what happens, right? But then you need to also decide, what are you going to do about it? Again, confronting her, pretty much always going to be the better way. Having the direct discussion, always going to be the better way. Okay. If you want her to be honest with you, you have to be honest with her. That's the bottom line. Okay. So, in summary, I got a lot of men, they're going to spy on their wives because they're worried about her being unfaithful, either because she has been in the past, or maybe, again, maybe she hasn't. It's just your worries from maybe past relationships or things like that. The problem is, if guys don't know what they're going to do with that information, they're stuck because they are asking their wife, they're asking their wife to be honest when they were dishonest in getting that information. Okay? So they try to manipulate their wife into telling the truth, or they just torture themselves trying to decide what to do. How do I tell her? Do I not? How do I get her to admit this? Right? And there's no real answer to that. So instead, you decide if you're going to spy or not, and then what you're going to do with that information. Again, for me, I just don't see a benefit to spying. I just don't see, in all the cases that I've worked with, I've never seen it turn out particularly well, right? Until they just finally do tell the truth that they were spying. Like, you spying and not telling her does basically nothing. Okay, it really doesn't. Much better to just ask directly to see stuff, be clear with her, hey, yeah, I don't trust you because this and this happened. And so, yeah, I do want to verify the things you're saying to me. If she's not willing to do that, then she is hiding things. And you need to decide what you're going to do about that. Okay. Whether that's creating more of a separation, or maybe that's just dealing with it, or maybe that's, just maybe you do make that decision. Well, if you're not going to be honest with me about it, then I will probably need to figure out some way to see what you're doing. Okay. So, again, bottom line is, guys, if you want honesty from her, you need to give honesty. You can only expect her to be as honest as you're going to be. So you also need to really have a good way to manage your own thoughts and emotions around this so you can deal with your own worries. A lot of times, guys, it's not founded. One of the guys that we've worked a lot with, it just wasn't founded. His wife was doing everything she could to show him that she was being faithful, and he was just so worked up about the past that he couldn't see what was in front of him, that his wife actually was doing everything she could to rebuild trust. So he had to manage his own thoughts and feelings around that. That might be you too. Okay. So whether your wife's been unfaithful, or whether you are, dealing with infidelity from the past and it's bugging you in your current relationship, okay, we deal with this a lot in our program, Strong Men, Strong Marriages, and we can help and we can help you. Okay, we've helped lots of guys get through it. We can help you too. Help you get rid of that paranoia that's always on your mind and just get you to a good spot. We're making good requests, setting clear boundaries, and being honest with your wife. Okay, so come join us in Strong Men, Strong Marriages. Visit strongmenstrongmarriages.com, click work with me, or click the link in the show notes, and you'll fill out an application. Then we'll discuss your best options with you. All right, so stay strong, men, and we will see you next episode.